Hello everyone, welcome back to Rogers Reports. I'm your host with the most, you can call me Rogers, and the Premier League fixtures have been set. So now we know Aston Villa's full 38 dates across the Premier League. Now we also know, thanks to the Europa League website, when we'll be playing in the Europa League as well. So we can kind of juxtapose both of them and have a look at how our season might indeed play out. So that's what we're going to be doing today, because let's be honest, the transfer news is drier than the Sahara Desert right now. You know, one of those like tumbleweedy ball things have been just flying everywhere around Villa Park because there is no ins and outs happening at the moment. So I thought, let's have a look at our fixtures. Let's see if they're favourable to us. They are actually pretty favourable at the start, but towards the end it gets a little bit messy. And have a look at if it's going to benefit us whilst we are playing in Europe this season. If you are enjoying the content, leave a like, subscribe down below with notifications on. That way you won't miss a single video or post that I do on this channel. I've also set up a community over on the channel as well where you guys can put posts in. So if you see any transfer links that you think are interesting that you want me to talk about, whack it over in the community on the channel page and I'll be sure to have a look. So let's have a look today at Aston Villa's fixtures and how we are shaping up for the Premier League 2025 to 2026 season. Is it going to be a good one? Let's have a look. As you can see on the screen, the teams have been set. Oh, it's going to be a good one. So we all know the teams that went down coming up this season are Burnley, Leeds United and Sunderland from the playoffs. And it's going to be a great season. I mean, I think some of these clubs like Leeds, Sunderland, even Burnley to an extent are kind of synonymous with the Premier League over the past sort of 10 or so years. Especially Sunderland, it's good to see them back. Newcastle, Sunderland, that's going to be a great game for the neutral to watch, isn't it? And Leeds already started to make some fantastic signings. They've definitely been the most active club probably so far, apart from Manchester City in the and Liverpool, to be fair. But I'm on about like new clubs coming up. We all know that City and Liverpool are going to be the top two clubs, right? No one's denying that. I think Arsenal have probably actually taken a step backwards in this transfer window because Liverpool and Manchester City have just been going absolutely crazy. Even United to an extent as well. Wolves could be a tough season for them. They've lost a lot of players already in Ait Nouri and Cunha to the two Manchester clubs. They have made a signing, but I think those two players are going to be very, very vital. They already lost Pedro Neto to Chelsea last year, so it could be a tough season for them. Could be a tough season for Aston Villa. We've got pretty much nothing going on. All the talk is about outgoings at Villa at the moment. And then clubs like Chelsea are just going to keep on spending loads of money. But that is your Premier League for next season. Who are Aston Villa going to play? Let's have a look. So as you can see on the screen, we are going to kick it off at home for the first time in a very, very long time with Newcastle coming to Villa Park. We have a pretty good record against them at Villa Park, to be fair. And actually, our sort of first 5 games is statistically, I saw it somewhere, if I can find it, I'll throw it up on the screen. Statistically, the easiest first 5 games out of the entirety of everyone in the Premier League. So that is pretty good reading for us and for us as Villa fans. So we go Newcastle, Brentford and Crystal Palace. I don't even want to talk about Crystal Palace, to be honest with you. I mean, that game's just an absolute bogey game. There are August fixtures. We then move into September. Everton, Sunderland and Fulham. So you can see really our first 6 games are all winnable games to an extent, you know. None of the big 4, even though I know Newcastle finished in the top 4 last season, we had a pretty good record against them. None of like the traditional big clubs that have gone out and spent loads of money. October, even then, Burnley. Really, the first 7 fixtures, there's no reason we can't go out and get some good points on the board early doors going into the busy Christmas period. It does then get a little bit harder. Tottenham and Manchester City. Tottenham always a bogey team for us, I think, especially away from home. Manchester City and Manchester City. Yes, it's at Villa Park, but we're going to need all of our lucky stars with the amount of signings they're making. We then move into November, and it gets even harder. Talk about that for a 3-game back-to-back streak. Tottenham, Manchester City, straight into Liverpool at Anfield. And then we get a little bit of a break, for want of a better word, with teams a little bit lower down the league. Well, you'd imagine they will be anyway, with Bournemouth, Leeds and Wolves. We flick over to the next one, Brighton, December, the busiest month. That period, November, December, January, is just horrible for teams. And it is horrible for Villa as well, because we go Brighton away, great team. Arsenal, yes, it's at Villa Park again, but it's still Arsenal, West Ham, and then Manchester United, Again, a massive bogey team for us. Yes, it's at Villa Park, but we just struggle against Manchester United, and I don't really know why. Chelsea and Arsenal both away from home on the 27th, because there's no games on Boxing Day anymore. The game's gone, and the 30th against Arsenal. And then you think it gets easier. No, we're straight over to Nottingham Forest, a very good and capable team in their own right. That's back at Villa Park. And then this is a bit of a godsend, this one, guys. I'm not even going to lie to you. Crystal Palace on the 7th of January, slap bang, when AFCON is going on, which means Ismaila Sarr will not bloody be there. So maybe we have a chance to finally get a result against Crystal Palace. God, I hope so. Because Sarr just rips us apart every time. Anyway, then it's Everton, Newcastle and Brentford going into February. Probably looks like one of our better months, February there. And actually, to be fair, March as well, sort of. But Bournemouth, Brighton and Leeds and Wolves make up our February fixtures. Chelsea, United and West Ham. Manchester United away from home. You can scratch that off as like a 2-3-0 loss. And then our final block of fixtures. And it's a tough run-in for Villa. April, again, not too bad. Nottingham Forest, Sunderland and Fulham. But then May, you look at May. We could have a really big deciding factor in the Premier League run-in, to be fair with you. We play Tottenham and Burnley, and then our last two games, Liverpool and Manchester City. Wow. So, overall, again, not the worst. There's a decent balance. We have a couple of really awful runs. I'm thinking specifically our last two games of the season. That couldn't be any harder if it tried. We have that sort of nightmare run in December for us. Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal twice in December actually. We play Arsenal on the 6th of December and as well on the 30th of December. So Arsenal twice, Chelsea, Manchester United. That's a tough run in for us. A couple of back-to-backers that are quite hard. Chelsea and Manchester United again in March. That's going to be a tough one for us. And then that little run that we have towards the start of the season. Tottenham, Manchester City and Liverpool. That's going to be a tough run for Villa. But overall, a good balance of playing teams that you'd expect us to beat. Perhaps the newly promoted teams, the teams that you'd expect will be further towards the bottom of the table. I'm thinking maybe your Evertons and your Wolves next season. But then again, it is juxtapositioned with those really tough fixtures. But we kick it off, Newcastle United at home. It's going to be a great game. But how does this work in terms of the Europa League fixtures? And actually, it's pretty good reading for Aston Villa. So as you can see on the screen, these are the league phase and knockout phase games in the Europa League next season. So match day 1, we don't know when we'll be playing, but it'll either be the 24th or 25th of September 2025. So if we cross-reference that with our fixtures for the 25-26 season, you will see our first game after our first Europa League fixture will either be probably be three. I imagine we'll play on the 24th purely to give us a 3-day rest. But it is at Villa Park and it is Fulham. Now, Aston Villa, I'll throw it up on the screen, our statistics. We have a terrible record after Europa League games and we have an awful record overall compared to our home record last season away from home. So to have games at Villa Park after Europa League fixtures, I think for me is a humongous positive. And the first one being Fulham, don't mind it at all. The game before that is going to be Sunderland as well, so perhaps a chance. Again, I don't want to diminish these teams that are coming up, but you look at last season and how poorly the 3 promoted teams fared in the Premier League because of FFP and the money differentials and the restrictions that are put on these teams coming up. Leicester were even penalised for how they managed to get promoted through FFP. It creates this massive divide, and to be honest with you, if we can take advantage of it for a better run in the Europa League, take bloody advantage of it. The next one we play on the 2nd of October. Our next game after that, the 4th of October, Burnley at Villa Park. Again, another very winnable one after a Europe game. I'm not going to turn my nose up at that at all. 23rd of October, next game, the 25th of October. Manchester City, yes, but it is at Villa Park. Hopefully we could even edge out a draw for that one. And again, it gets even better, guys. 6th of November, we play in the Europa League. 8th of November, it's Bournemouth at Villa Park. 4 games in a row post-Europa League where we are going to be playing at Villa Park. Absolutely fantastic. Dreamy reading. Could it get even better? Let me tell you right now, it does. 27th of November, match day 5 in the Europa League. 29th of November, Wolves at home at Villa Park. Our first 5 Europa League sort of group phase matches, and all of them come to back with games at Villa Park. very, very good reading. If I flick over to the next block of fixtures here, 11th of December, we play in the Europa League. Our first away game post-Europa League, it is travelling to London to play West Ham United. All in all, in terms of away games, West Ham, where's sort of their direction going at the moment? They're going to maybe have to lose players like Mohamed Kudus over the summer transfer window. Not the worst thing in the world that's happened. Then there's a bit of a break. 22nd of January, we go back to playing in the Europa League. And this is probably the most tricky one, I think, if you're looking at back-to-back with the Europa League. 22nd of January, we play Europa League. 24th of January, it's Newcastle United away from home at St James's Park. I think we might have to accept the L on that one, to be honest with you. Then the final league group phase, 29th of January, back-to-back with another home game to Brentford. So all in all, 6 out of the 8 Europa League group phase matches will come back-to-back with Aston Villa playing at Villa Park. We know Villa Park is a fortress. Unai Emery's made it a fortress for 2 times in a row now. Our mad win streak that we had at Villa Park last season, and now last season technically we're still unbeaten at Villa Park in about 15-16 games, but it does extend. Are we assuming we're going to get through the Europa League group phase? I bloody hope so, and I bloody hope we won't even have to play in the knockout phase. But if we get straight through to the round of 16, the 12th of March is the first fixture. What's our back-to-backers? See you later, Villa. Go and collect your 0 points. We go to Old Trafford 2 days later on the 14th. I think we can just accept that one's an L and move on. But 19th of March, the second round of 16, we then go back-to-back with a West Ham home game. So again, 1 out of 2 for that. I'll take it. The next one, the quarterfinals, 9th and 16th of April, we go away to Nottingham Forest on the 11th. So 1 away game. 16th of April, we play again if we get that far in the quarterfinals. We then bring it back to Villa Park again, a Sunderland at home fixture. So 50-50, we'll take it, because we might have to try and get Champions League through the Premier League again. The Europa League, yes, Emery's won it 5 times. Nothing's guaranteed. Semi-finals, 30th of April, we then play Tottenham Hotspurs at home on the 2nd of May. So another home fixture. 7th of May would be the other semi-final. We then have to go away, but it is to Burnley, and that is right in our run in there. The final is the 20th of May. I mean, that's just awful. So 17th of May, we play Liverpool at home. 24th of May, it's Manchester City away. Hopefully we can have top 4 wrapped up by then, or we look like we're going to win the final. But as you can see, overall, a very decent run of home games and winnable away games after our Europa League fixtures. It's all kind of looking hunky-dory, right? In terms of the Europa League, the teams themselves, just to give you a quick rundown, is it a very winnable tournament? Well, no, there's a lot of good teams in here, right? The teams that are confirmed for the group stages so far, Villa, Bologna, who we know we've beaten them. Did we draw with them? I think we did beat them in the Champions League last season. Celta Vigo, Iago Aspas leading the line for them very well. Crystal Palace is still up in the air whether they'll be in the competition. Freiburg, Dynamo, Go Ahead Eagles from the Netherlands. Lille, we all know about our history with Lille, very, very good team. Could we be nicking a goalkeeper from them though? I hope so. Lyon, Porto, Real Betis, again, could we be nicking a player from them? Roma and Stuttgart, so very, very capable teams. It's not all confirmed yet though. In the playoffs, we have Aberdeen, Genk, Samspor, Sigla Olympic and Young Boys. And there's still qualifying rounds going on, guys. We won't know the draw in terms of who we're playing, I think, until August for the Europa League. But a lot of teams, again, probably not too many that are... PAOK, again, recognisable. Anderlecht, Besiktas, Hibernian, whatever they're called. But again, teams that you would have heard of. Legia Warsaw, we've played them in the Conference League a couple of seasons ago. I think that's the team that we beat 4-0 maybe. Partizan from Serbia. Sheriff... and Shakhtar Donetsk obviously used to have a bit of money. They've kind of gone down the pan. That's a really nice logo there. But it's not going to be an easy tournament. Crystal Palace, we know we can't beat them. It's literally impossible for us to beat them. But I think because of that rule where you can't play teams from your own nation, we won't be playing Palace, at least in the qualifying round. Bologna, Celta Vigo, good teams. Freiburg, Lille and Lyon, French teams. We know we struggle sometimes. Porto, Betis, Roma, they're all really good teams. But luckily for us, the Premier League has been kind to us in terms of our fixtures with it. And there you have it, Aston Villa's fixtures for the 25-26 season. We'll be covering the draw for the Europa League when we do know it, and the FA Cup, League Cup, all that kind of good stuff. But what do you guys think? I think the fixtures have been pretty favourable to us. We're going to be battling on four borders, right? Premier League, Europa League, FA Cup, League Cup. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be a slobberknocker of a season. But I think we might be able to do something special. Comment down below your thoughts, and I'll see you guys soon. Up the Villa. Hopefully there's some transfer news soon, because we are starving out here, brother.